Philophobia is defined as the fear of love, or of becoming emotionally connected with another person. Philophobia, of course, is not to be confused with monophobia, the fear of being alone, or gamophobia, fear of commitment, although they do share some of the same characteristics. Its name is derived from the Greek word philia, meaning to love, and phobia, which comes from the Greek word phobos, meaning fear or panic. Philophobia is a phobia that is incredibly understandable to have. It's human nature to be apprehensive about opening up romantically to someone new, which can lead to a fear of falling in love so severe that it interferes with your daily life, by means of a number of common symptoms that are associated with specific phobias. These symptoms may include intense feelings of panic, a marked avoidance of the object of fear, unexplained sweating, a sharp increase in heart rate or palpitations, shortness of breath, nausea, dizziness, and trembling or shaking. In addition to these symptoms is the urge to pursue multiple romantic partners and to engage in mostly superficial relationships, allowing them the freedom to not commit to their partners or having to open up to them. It is a widely known rumor that Queen Elizabeth I may have actually been philophobic, although, like most rumors, this has never been confirmed. She was famously opposed to romantic commitments, even having said, "I would rather be a beggar and single than a queen and married." Her philophobia may have stemmed from the fact that women at the time were frequently relegated to secondary, subservient roles, and thus marriage may have actually stripped her of her political powers. A different take may be that Elizabeth developed her philophobia after watching her father, King Henry VIII, behead her mother, Anne Boleyn, which is enough to scare anyone off of love. And when it comes to a song that nails what it feels like to be afraid of love and not being loved properly, none hit harder than the 2011 hit song by Marina and the Diamonds, starring Roll. Hello, and welcome on back to Heard It in a Love Song, the show where we take a trip to the past to discover the history of a love song we all know and love. This week, we take a look into the life and times of Electra Heart herself, Marina Diamandis, and her hit song, Starring Roll.
Please go wild for Marina and the Diamonds with Starring Roll.
We start our story on October 10th, 1985. In Bryn Mawr, Wales. This is where and when we meet up with a Greek man named Demos Diamandis and his Welsh wife, Esther Diamandis, who had met and fallen in love while attending Newcastle University. It was in Bryn Mawr that these two just welcomed to the world their second daughter, Marina Lambrini Diamandis, new younger sister to Lafina. It wasn't long after her birth that the family moved to Abergavenny, specifically the neighborhood of Pandy, a small community in Monmouthshire, Wales. By all of her accounts, she remembers having a simple, idyllic, normal, and poor childhood, recalling the fact that she shared a bedroom with her older sister. However, life wouldn't stay idyllic for long, as by the time she was 4 years old, Demos and Esther had split. Marina and her family lived in Greece for a time, but after her parents separated, they moved to a small bungalow in Pandy, but Marina didn't stay rooted at first, with her telling Genius, "I moved around a lot as a kid. I spent summers in Russia, in the Ukraine. My dad worked in Japan for a long time. It's a part of my growing up." As a child, she attended Haberdasher's Monmouth School for Girls, with her recalling, "I sort of found my talent there. I was the one that always skived off choir, but I had an incredible music teacher who managed to convince me I could do anything." Some of her musical idols at the time were Dolly Parton, Enya, and George Michael, artists picked from her mother's collection, while her father's tastes were more conservative, leading to her listening to classical Greek songs and Haris Alexiou. She would later reveal that Madonna inspired her to be a pop star, and she also admitted that she admires pop icons such as Spice Girls, S Club 7, and most of all, Britney Spears, which, if you've not seen the Part 1 episode on her, check it out in the link below. When she was 14, around the same time that Britney Spears was becoming a global phenomenon, Marina decided that actually she did want to be a singer, telling The Guardian, "It probably sounds lame, but I had a strange feeling inside me that I was going to do this." At around age 15, Marina says that she discovered Fiona Apple, telling Vice, "Fiona was, for one thing, a very alternative voice. She was actually expressing sadness, which for women in the mainstream music industry is not really encouraged, particularly back then. So for me, that was somebody expressing something that I was feeling at the time that I wasn't hearing anywhere else." With these new idols and newfound fascination for singing, despite the fact that she had never sung in public, didn't write songs, and wasn't even particularly fond of music, she knew what she wanted to do in life. When she was 16, she moved to Athens, Greece, to live with her father. It was there that she became fluent in Greek, even finding herself able to sing along to classic Greek folk songs with her grandmother. Having earned an international baccalaureate at St. St. Catherine's British Embassy School in Athens, she returned to Wales 2 years later, with her and her mother moving to England and settling in Ross-on-Wye. In Ross, jobs were few and far between for teenage girls, but after some searching, Marina found that the petrol station paid the best, so she went there, did all the shifts she could, and slowly saved up, all with the end goal of moving about 125 miles east to London. After some time, she made that dream a reality and started on her path to stardom. In London, she attended dance school, but quit after 2 months, shifting her studies to music at the University of East London and transferring to a classical composition course in Middlesex University the following year, but ultimately deciding to drop out from there as well. But her time at Middlesex wasn't a total waste. With her telling Telegraph in 2011, "This was actually a great time for me, because over that summer, I had my heart totally broken, and my songwriting got really good." With the widely available knowledge that the Spice Girls were formed by an advertisement in the stage newspaper, she scoured it daily, applying for auditions that caught her eye. She traveled for several unsuccessful auditions, including opportunities with the musical The Lion King and a reggae boy band organized by Virgin Records. She responded to their ad, with her recalling to The Independent, "I dressed up as a boy and went along to the record label. They wouldn't let me in, funnily enough. But I did leave a letter and a photograph saying I was amazing and I was going to take over the world." To her surprise, a label executive actually reached out to her, asking her to come in for an audition. But when the time came to actually audition, she was so nervous that she had to bail. "I just felt sick," she admitted. In 2005, she took a huge step in her career without even knowing it, creating the stage name Marina and the Diamonds. When describing the origin of the name, she said, "I never envisioned a character, pop project, band, or solo artist. I saw a simple group made up of many people who had the same hearts. A space for people with similar ideas who could not fit into life's pre-made mold. I was terribly awkward for a long time. I really craved to be part of one thing because I never felt connected to anybody, and now I feel that I have that all around me."
Actually, my name's Marina.
Of all the influences that inspired Marina, there were perhaps none more important than that of Daniel Johnston. Daniel Johnston was a legend in his own right, having been a self-produced outsider musician that inspired the likes of Tom Waits and Nirvana, before passing away in 2019 at the age of 58. Influenced by Daniel, Marina decided to stop going to auditions and compose her own music instead, with her telling Australian radio station Triple J, "He really opened up to me a whole new world of music, and a whole new perception of what an artist is. For me, he really encouraged me because if you think of someone who has been spoon-fed pop up until about 21 years old, and you hear someone like Daniel Johnston, you're like, God, this is terrible, but I love it. It sounds like a child has made it. Like, the production is so all over the place. He obviously got something very captivating here, yet he doesn't fit the normal mold, and people still love him. I thought, if he can do it, then so can I." That's when I started to produce things myself and play live. Even though I wasn't great on the piano, it's all about that emotion. And if you have heart, people connect to that. In addition to Daniel Johnston, she was also inspired by Blondie, Tom Waits, and the Distillers. She started playing keyboard as a way to write her own songs, solely as a means to an end. "It was just a tool," she told Vice. "My playing, on an academic level, is terrible, but for me, it's just an instrument to help me write a song." Using her student loan money, she purchased a laptop and by means of GarageBand put together her first set of demos, eventually making up her self-produced debut EP, Mermaid vs. Sailor, which she released via MySpace on November 27th, 2007. They were created on handmade CDRs and sold exclusively through her MySpace page. An estimated 70 copies were sold overall. She even shot a video for the song 17. She met with 14 music labels, rejecting all but one as she believed it was the only one that would not dictate her image. Her label of choice was Neon Gold Records, co-founded by Derek Davies and Lizzie Plappinger. Neon Gold Records has worked with a pretty impressive track record of well-known artists like Passion Pit, Ellie Goulding, Gautier, Charlie XCX, Vampire Weekend, Lana Del Rey, Churches, Group Love, Haim, Icona Pop, and Walk the Moon. It was the ear of Derek Davies that she caught in 2008, with him reflecting, "She just had something that really resonated with me. Even with the quite limited production of her early bedroom demos, she had this powerful yet vulnerable voice, and a writing style that didn't sound like anyone else at the time." In the 6 months that Derek Davies managed Marina, he booked her to open for an Australian recording artist that was somebody that we'd get to know, Gautier, and got her signed to 679 Recordings, a subdivision of Warner Music Group. 679 had artists like Death from Above 1979, The Polyphonic Spree, and Annie, who sings one of my favorite songs of all time, Antonio, which I will link below. Marina's debut single was issued on Neon Gold Records on February 14th, 2009. It was a double A-side consisting of Obsessions
We've got obsessions.
and Mowgli's Road. The follow-up to this double A-side was an EP entitled The Crown Jewels, which was released on June 1st, 2009. The EP contained 3 songs and 1 remix, most of which would make it one way or another onto her first studio album, that album being The Family Jewels. It was released on February 22, 2010, and peaked at number 5 on the UK Albums Chart, and made it to number 138 on the Billboard Top 200. A re-release of Mowgli's Road was released as the album's lead single on November 13, 2009. She chose the song as an uncommercial taster due to its oddness, with her telling Digital Spy it's about there being 2 roads in fame in the industry. When I wrote it, I didn't know whether I was meant to be some kind of weird indie artist or a big pop thing. At the end of the day, I just thought, you can be both if you want. I'm a left field artist, but I really want to be successful. You know, I think celebrity culture and pop music is really important, but I want there to be an alternative for people. Despite her finding it odd, it received massive attention after being shared by the likes of Kanye West and Perez Hilton.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
On February 1st, 2010, the second single, Hollywood, was released as the album's first majorly promoted single. It reached number 12 on the UK single chart. It was followed on April 26 by I Am Not a Robot, which peaked at number 26 on the same listing. Oh No was released as the album's 4th single on August 2nd in the UK and Ireland only. It charted at number 38. To support the album, she toured Europe, North America, and Australia during 2010 to 2011, but failed to attract the American audience. In 2011, she opened for American pop icon Katy Perry during her California Dreams tour, along with another queen of pop, Robin. After returning to the United States, Marina spent a lot of time considering creating a character that would serve as the centerpiece of her follow-up project. She commented that she was inspired by the Tumblr generation to photograph herself in several places across the United States, appearing as a different persona in each picture to mimic the anonymity of the many stars of the internet. Telling the Irish Times, I started to take photos and make an effort to look completely different in each one, in different hotels and apartments all across America when I was traveling, and it just started to build from there. It was more the prima donna archetype at the beginning, really. I was reading a lot of books on the Hollywood Babylon, focusing more on the gossipy, suicidal side of the 30s and 40s in Hollywood. That's just how it started, and then it grew into a real project. I just wanted to make a gimmick out of love. We're so familiar with the idea of love in pop songs, but I didn't want to fall into a kind of cliched category. So I thought I'd create Electra Heart. In 2010, Marina started working on a project, with the intention of doing 2 albums. Die Life, under Marina and the Diamonds, and an album under Electra Heart. However, her management didn't agree to her plans. With her management not thrilled with splitting the album, Marina set to work on her second full-length studio album. Naming it after the titular character, Electra Heart, Marina decided that the album would be played by the 4 distinct female personas of Electra Heart: housewife, beauty queen, homewrecker, and idle teen. She dyed her hair bleach blonde and morphed into Electra Heart, with her saying, I'm attracted to emptiness, to the fake in us. Aside from love, perception and deception are central themes in Electra Heart. That's why I changed my hair, because the archetypal star is always blonde. I used to think of the female superstars, Marilyn Monroe, Madonna, Britney Spears. I wonder if they would have had the same career if they had been brunettes. The bleaching process was actually so bad for her hair that she experienced hair loss. It literally fell out, she told The Sun. I went to this hairdresser in LA before a shoot and she just fucked it up. She was blow drying my hair and said, you've got a bit of breakage at the back. I looked around and a lot had just snapped off at 2 inches. A week later, I had it all cut really short. For 9 months, she had to wear a wig that she styled perfectly to match the Electra Heart persona. During the entirety of 2011, Marina recorded the material for Electra Heart with producers Greg Kurstin, Kirkit, Guy Sigsworth, Labyrinth, Diplo, Stargate, Liam Howe, Rick Knowles, and Dr. Luke.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Between them, they have wrote, co-wrote, or produced an endless amount of pop classics, including but not limited to
Hello, can you come a little closer? Come on, baby, we ain't gonna live forever. That my best friend, she a real bad bitch. All eyes on me in the center of the ring, just like a circus. Gonna Kiss me hard before you go. Summertime sadness.
A promotional single, Radioactive, was released in October 2011. The song was well received, both by critics and fans, peaking at number 25 on the UK charts. After some delays, Electra Heart was released on April 27, 2012, and the concept paid off in a big way, as the album made its debut at number 1 in both the UK and Ireland charts, making it her first album to do so. In the UK, the album sold over 21,000 copies in its first week. It became her highest charting album in the US, peaking at number 30, and it's understandable as to why it did so well, with singles like Prima Donna, which quickly reached platinum status in the UK. In the United States, Prima Donna was also certified gold by the RIAA for sales over 500,000 units. It peaked at number 11 on the UK charts.
Prima Donna girl, yeah. All I ever wanted was the world.
The second single, at least in the UK, was Power and Control, and it was released on July 30th, 2012, peaking at 193 on the UK singles chart. In July 2012, it was announced that How to Be a Heartbreaker would be released as the second single in the United States and the third in the United Kingdom. Marina had written the track while Electra Heart was being pressed in the UK and consequently missed the cutoff for initial inclusion on the record. However, it was featured in the revised track listing for the American version. The song was released on December 7, 2012 and peaked at number 88 on the UK single chart. Electra Heart even won the music award from gay lifestyle magazine Attitude in October 2012. A month later, she would be featured on the cover.
Well, I've always said, I want to win loads of awards, but it's actually really frightening and I want to crap my pants right now. So. But thank you so much to Attitude. Actually, they're the first gay magazine that have shot me for their cover. Diamonds really are a gay's best friend. And that's it, really. I have a lot of support from the gay community, and I really genuinely appreciate it. So thank you very much.
True to form, each Electra Heart archetype had a song attributed to it. The housewife had Lies and Valley of the Dolls.
In the valley of the dolls we sleep, we sleep.
The beauty queen had Prima Donna, The State of Dreaming,
I've been living in the state of dreaming.
and Fear and Loathing,
Don't wanna live with fear and loathing.
which actually fades out with a classical Greek song sung by her grandmother, making the track very special to her. The Homewrecker had Homewrecker,
They call me Homewrecker, Homewrecker.
Power and Control,
Power and control.
and How to Be a Heartbreaker.
This is how to be a heartbreaker. Boys, they like a little danger.
And the Idol teen had Teen Idol,
I wish I've been a teen idol.
Radioactive,
When you're around me, I'm radioactive.
and Bubblegum Bitch,
I'm gonna be your bubblegum bitch.
which interestingly enough went gold in 2021 due to a resurgence in popularity due to TikTok. However, two songs were not attached to an archetype, those being Sex Yeah and this week's topic, Starring Role.
I said my best, regards from hell.
On August 25th, 2010, Marina sent out a tweet that was very clearly lyrics. For what? No one knew at the time. But they read, "You never sing for love. You never have a heart to mend. Because before the start begins, you always see the end." During this time, Marina's untitled second studio album was more of a dark electronic pop record, the aforementioned Die Life. She had envisioned it as an album that would be far less commercial than the Family Jewels, with the thought brewing that there may not be any singles released from it at all. However, when the idea came to split the project in half, with one half being Die Life and the other half being Electra Heart, the song that she was working on and tweeting lyrics from, Starring Role, shifted its way towards Electra Heart. In the Electra Heart track-by-track interview, Marina stated, "Starring Role was quite a groundbreaking song for me as it was one of the first written for the new record, and it signaled the direction I was going sonically. It's kind of a cold and emotive song and production, and I think that style followed on the rest of the album." Marina wrote the song about a former lover who refused to be himself to her. She wants to be number one in his heart, but he doesn't let her in. She explained the song's meaning on Amazon. You don't want to live in reality. That's why you're an artist. You're on the run. In 2012, Marina stated that Starring Role was probably her favorite song on the record, alongside Lies. However, also in 2012, Marina said about the song, "Oh, I cringe so much when I think about people hearing Starring Role. It's really terrifying to let people know that you were unwanted or unlovable to someone." Starring Role comes in at 144 beats per minute. It can be a truly terrifying thing to open yourself up to others, most especially when it's your heart that you're allowing to be vulnerable. We aren't blessed with the ability to see into the future or to predict how every situation will play out. We're left to not only our own devices, but the devices and downfalls of the person or people we are opening ourselves up to. Marina nails it perfectly with not only the lyrical makeup of the song, but her performance of them. This week's Love Homework is another song about what it can feel like when letting yourself be open goes wrong. I'll Still Have Me by Sin.
At least I still hurt me.
And that's it, the end of another love song history lesson. If you like what you learned, and you'd like to continue learning, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a like below, and join me again next week for the history of a love song we all know and love. Until next time, remember, rule number 1 is that you gotta have fun. But baby, when you're done, you gotta be the first to run. And remember, you heard it in a love song.